Yesterday, anti-Israel protesters unleashed chaos in Washington, D.C. The chaos came as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was addressing a joint session of Congress. Protesters made their way to Union Station, just 2 blocks from the Capitol. They burned an American flag, vandalized a Christopher Columbus statue with the words, quote, "Hamas is coming." The anti-Israel protesters also raised the Palestinian flag in place of the American flag. Harvard Law School professor emeritus and author of the book Get Trump, Alan Dershowitz, joins me. Good evening, sir. A lot of people, understandably, people are disturbed at the flag being burned. Is there a right to burn the flag?
There is a right to burn your own flag. It's wrong. As Justice Brennan once said, if he saw somebody burning a flag, he would punch him in the mouth and then defend his constitutional right to do it. But there is no right to burn an American flag that's owned by the United States or by other people. There's no right to deface a statue of Christopher Columbus and to paint on it pro-Hamas. Let's remember that people are trying to make a moral equivalence between Hamas and Israel. Even the Vice President, Kamala Harris, in her statement, seemed to create a moral equivalence between the suffering of the Gazans and the people who were killed in Israel. The difference is this: the people who are suffering in Gaza are suffering as a result of Hamas. Hamas is using them as human shields. Hamas is the one who is taking their food away. Hamas is the one who is firing rockets from mosques and schools. So there is no moral equivalence between Israel's self-defense actions, which are trying to minimize civilian deaths, and Hamas's attempts to increase civilian deaths. And these useful idiots, as I think Netanyahu appropriately called them, they're total ignoramuses. They have no idea what they are calling for. They want a ceasefire, but the barrier to the ceasefire right now is Hamas. Israel and the United States and Qatar and Egypt have agreed essentially on a ceasefire, and Hamas has not. So if you want to protest Hamas. If you're pro-Palestinian, protest Hamas. That's the worst thing that's ever happened to the Palestinians is Hamas. And so I'm disappointed at Harris's statement. She was trying to appeal both to her left-wing anti-Israel people and to the pro-Israel people. You can't do that by creating a false moral equivalence.
I do wonder if she saw that 47-minute video that I have seen that Hamas shot. I mean, because that does change your life. It's really hard to have that sort of moral equivalency when you see what was going on and when you know that the Palestinians are suffering at the hands of Hamas while their leaders are living as billionaires in Qatar and all the horrible things they're doing. And then they appreciate when Palestinians are killed because everyone does. And what Vice President Kamala Harris does is that, you know, they feel very painful with the deaths of these Palestinians, which, of course, nobody wants anyone to suffer.
Of course, but you know, the Democrats who are supporting Hamas are driving people like me out of the Democratic Party. I hear it from so many of my friends who have been Democrats like me since John Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. I can't identify with the party, 80 members of whom decided to apply a bigoted double standard and stay away from Netanyahu's speech. These are people who would jump to hear the head of the Palestinian Authority, who, if Castro was still alive, they would run to hear Castro, they would run to hear the head of China, the head of Russia, but they wouldn't even listen to the democratically elected head of one of our strongest allies. Shame on them, particularly shame on the Jewish members of Congress and the Senate, like Bernie Sanders, but also shame on people like Liz Warren. Liz Warren came to see me when she decided to run for the Senate. We were colleagues. She said, "Alan, I don't know anything about the Middle East. I don't even know where the West Bank is. Can you give me a tutorial?" And I spent 2 hours with her. She learned nothing. She is still a total and complete ignoramus and bigot when it comes to the nation state of the Jewish people. I can't support a party that has Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders and 80 people who had walked out. My view is boycott the boycotters. If you boycotted Netanyahu, I'm boycotting you. I'm not going to ever vote for you or support you or give you any kind of financial support. Let's be pro-American. America benefits from its relationship with Israel. The vast majority of congressmen and senators, mostly Republicans, but some Democrats as well, support Israel. The vast majority of American people support Israel. The Liz Warrens of the world are anti-American, anti-Israel, anti-democracy.